Now, I could call it an amazing thing that happened yesterday. Um, Yesterday, I wrote down a bunch of things, and beforehand, I had a political conversation with my family, um, and it got people upset. So I did write down a goal of apologizing to them. I did. After I apologized to them, probably within the next hour, I saw a video that that proved them wrong and me right. A person was had the police called on them because their presence was disturbing. It was a preacher in Toronto praying with a homeless man. It's a 1 hour film. It's a 1 hour clip, 1 hour video. And from the very beginning, he's praying with the homeless person. A bunch of LGBTQ activists go around him, prevent him from walking, bug him, touch him, shout bad things at him, and the police are called. Then he gets arrested after that. So uh, it's it's so surreal to say, you know what, I apologize for making y'all feel bad, and yeah, okay, and then I was proven right. So you know what, it's one of those things that I might be tucking into under my arm and just keeping it there forever. Where it's like, well, if you want to bring it up again, here's a full-fledged video of people who shouldn't be going against the, again, religious people. It's so hilarious. It really is. Again, I could get upset about that, but I find it hilarious. One of the things that I was saying, like, again, I don't care what your freaking affiliation is. Somebody's existence. Let's switch the roles. This is why I get so upset, because if we just switch the roles, it would be so horrible. A bunch of white, male, straight Christians, conservatives, go up to somebody who is a effeminate gay man, black, and says that your presence is disturbing us, and we call the cops, and the cops eventually arrest you because you're disturbing the peace. You know how horrible that sounds? It sounds very bad. But if we switch the roles, well, it's not that bad. Well, it's like, you're just a Christian. You've been privileged all your life. Huh? That's saying that things that have happened in the past that were not his fault are going to be bestowed upon him. Privileges that he may have had justify the bad action these people are specifically doing to this person? Are you justifying bad behavior? Well, it's not like you're just a Christian and you're privileged. So we can do bad things to Christians, which is one of those things that you are actually marginalizing people because you believe them to not be marginalized, so it's okay to marginalize them, which justifies the bad behavior to white male Christian conservatives. I personally don't care. I more myself am a libertarian. If you want to think about sexuality, I'm kind of a dipper in both fields. If you want to go with whatever a gender is, hey, and you can be anyone can be anything, because there's no line of demarcation that the left has defined for anybody. So that's pretty much where I'll be at. It's like, well, what do you care? I care about holding the same standard. There's two things that I care about film, that I know, movies, and like, what does that have to do with anything? There's two things that I primarily care with movies: continuity and transparency. Transparency, I'll go with number two and then number one. No, with transparency, I love wide angle shots, seeing the entire scene being shot at all in one go. And Aquaman, again, no spoilers, but I'll tell you what the camera work did. It was phenomenal. John Wick 3 really dropped the ball on a lot of things, personally. I think they did a lot of great things, but I was taken out of the film because of what they did. Like, I just could not get back into the film. I give it a C plus maybe. I cannot give it anything higher than that. It's a shame, because I love John Wick 1 and John Wick 2. John Wick 1 would probably be an A minus, probably a B plus, but then John Wick 2 expands upon everything. So I gave it an A plus plus if I could. I'd give it an A plus. If I couldn't do any more, A plus. I'd love to give it an A plus plus. It was freaking amazing. some things were iffy, but again, for a traditional film, man, it was freaking amazing. Like if somebody gets hit, like if he's, in John Wick 2, when he gets hit by a car, they don't cut scene. They do it in one scene with him walking and then a car coming and actually hitting him. In one scene, we see the entire event full. There's no cuts. There's no flipping for one person's face. Every once in a while, that's good to zoom in on like a conversation, but the more that you can make everything happen in one shot, in one go, I applaud that. That's phenomenal. But number two, or the first one, is continuity. If you shows the audience something, I want to be capped. Why did you show that to me? If, for example, in John Wick 1, again, I don't want to use spoilers for Aquaman. I think Aquaman is a 9.8. At least with camera work, I'd have to give it a 9.8. With maybe story, it could probably fall a little bit, probably 8.9 or something. I don't know. Camera work in Aquaman is absolutely delight to watch. In John Wick 1, there's a gold coin at the very beginning that we get to see that's used over and over and over. And then it's brought back into John Wick 2. We don't know what it is specifically. The currency for that coin is not said specifically, but they keep using it in references. And so I'm captivated by the use of that coin, even though I don't have a clue what it's for. It's a currency for the underground, but like a gun, a suit, like why are they the same? Is it 2 coins, 1 coin? If you stay at the Continental, is it 3 coins? Why is it 1 coin? And then it just, I'm curious about that, but they keep using it, and so if there is a bad guy, showing them once in the film and you never see them again would be a poor villain. Someone who like Thanos in Infinity War, and Infinity War primarily, he comes on screen. We've seen him in multiple movies. They've been building this up, and now when Infinity War happens and Thanos is the main antagonist, we can believe it because he has had his hand in every single villain from the past 10 movies. That is amazing because he's a bad guy, he's a bad guy, he's a bad guy, he's a bad guy. And we get to see different perspectives, different ways he's been influencing the entire universe up to that point, and now he's stepping up. He is very capable and has been doing it himself, all the bad things himself, but he was using other people as well. And we get to see him as being a very competent villain. That was amazing. So again, continuity and transparency. I bring that same thing with politics. I don't necessarily care about your politics. There may be facts I'm well aware of, I may not know. Or I know not and I'm not aware of them. That I care more about your consistency. If you are someone whom I may disagree with, and here's something I disagree with, universal basic income, but you give to a charity of some sort that actually acts that out with universal basic income that has worked, then I'm all for you actually wanting to get that to work. I would want you to do that. Because if it's not only you wanting to do it, it's that your actions are actually in alignment with that thing that you want. I find that I give you a level of respect. Again, just because you have, there is a level of respect that if I may disagree with you, there's extremists on both sides. Just anyone who's an extremist who just takes it too far and starts harming people or taking their stuff. By force. Or harming at people at least, but taking their stuff, I always back off from that. But if you're trying to be at least reasonable about it, I may disagree with you. I think what your stance is immoral, but at least give you respect for that. Is that you're trying. Is that you do practice what you preach. You do try to make it better. I think you might be failing in a certain way, but just because I think that you're failing doesn't mean that I shouldn't give you that respect. Doesn't mean it's I guess that's enough about politics. So but anybody who is new here, the primary reason for this entire channel is for me to express myself while I'm programming. Now, there's other videos that I'm creating with politics or cultural politics, politics with culture. I care again. That's what I just described. The last 10 minutes is primarily for that series of just here's a political or cultural thing, relevant thing, and here's my opinion on it, and I'm trying to understand it. And because I even changed my mind in the last video that I did, I thought I was going to be just bad mouthing the video or the people in it. And then I realized that I could just be grateful for the situation. That's amazing. I could just be happy about having being the crap that was caught on camera and it being uploaded to the internet. That there is a transparency. The issue that is happening is transparent for anybody who wishes to see it. I'm grateful for that. There may be bad things that continue to happen to this gentleman, but I'm very grateful that the entire thing was caught on camera, multiple cameras, and put online for my available use. That is amazing. And again, when it comes to programming, well, with myself, when it comes to learning, I may build up a thought and an idea, and I feel a certain way about it. And if I'm not able to express that idea, even though it may be wrong, that's my process of learning. So same thing with politics. I might be wrong, but I'm trying to figure it out. And I might have my own opinions, like, no, this is how it is because of these experiences, and this is why I believe that way. And then it might take me a week or two to even say, whoa, I was probably wrong. But the whole process of this channel, the whole process is me trying to figure it out. Me figuring out, not just trying to figure out, me figuring it out. Me getting to a comfortable place and then moving beyond that. So, same thing with programming. And what I have for programming for the last week is creating a breakout game. In this breakout game, my deadline was today. It is today. So my goal is to finish the breakout game. I have 3 goals. Oh, that's 2. I have 3 goals. First one is to complete the power-up function. It's an error that's been happening. I have no idea what it has been doing, but I need to fix it. I need to put a level at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Levels are dependent on score. For every level, every 100 points, add a level. 10 total levels, and we'll get to a velocity of 20. And very, very specific activities or objectives that we need to knock out for our main goal. Minor goals, major goal. And our last goal that I'd like to finish off with is to make certain that there are comments listed throughout the entire code. Because what is good code from Simon something from Simon, I don't know what his last name is, but Simon, he's bald, he has a goatee type of, whatever this type of mustachio beard thing, from lynda.com. He's a phenomenal teacher. He teaches every other language that I don't care about, but he's a phenomenal teacher with the basics. And the number one thing that I learned from that was comments are phenomenal. Great code is code you can read. If you cannot read or understand the code, it is useless code. It's worthless code. So taking the time to make comments throughout the code is actually what helps you in the long run. It's actually what helps you as a person just to understand what's going on, making a comment, and then if you wanted to share your code, if you wanted to share it, if you want to get some feedback from some other people, you have to have those comments. So you can help another person understand what you are trying to accomplish. So, and then what my objective is, and I'll do this after this. What I want to do next week is that I want to create clocks. And I know this sounds silly, but I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday, I created this new goal of clocks because I had this idea with a speed run competition, not a competition, but a charity event that somebody does. It's called Games Done Quick. You can find them on YouTube. And what they do is have speedrunners. It's kind of like a marathon, not a marathon, a donation-thon, whatever it's called, telethon. And they bring in gamers who can speedrun, do the game in the fastest time possible by leveraging glitches, finding secret tunnels, etc. And they try to do it in the quickest amount of time possible for whatever game they're doing. And then they try to get people to donate to whatever the cause is. I think for the last 2 or 3 years it's been cancer awareness, and they donated. I think they've got to like 2.5 million in the last 3 years. So that's phenomenal. Somebody donates $10 and they read it live while the person's speedrunning. So again, it's pretty cool. But what they had there is a binary clock behind the timer that was increasing while the gamer was playing. I think that's pretty cool to have a binary clock behind a timer or a clock that's increasing. I would love to do that. Now, maybe even having a binary clock, and this is why I love this. Creating new ideas is phenomenal. Putting it into action in the most simplest way is something that I'm working on. But having a digital clock behind, not a binary clock happening right behind an analog clock, where it has all the faces and the hand signs, and it's going. And maybe having a binary clock that shows whatever the time is right now, not just having a timer that's increasing 1, 2, 3, then 4 minutes, 5, 20 hours, 100 hours. No, something that resets itself after a certain period of time. So a small map of the globe and a simple command that shows the zone of wherever the mouse is. Like you put your mouse on the left-hand side of Canada, on the right-hand side of Canada, it'll show you a different time zone. And it's based off your own clock that you have, plus or minus whatever it is. I think that's just, very simple. Something to do. Maybe instead of like a small map, I could just put lines, and then depending on where you put your mouse in those lines, it's going to either increase or decrease. So, a bubbled clock, where you can move your mouse through it and disperse them. So I've seen this before, but I don't know how to do this. Where you can move your mouse through the code, through the canvas, and it'll actually push the bubbles out of the way and then revert back to their original position. I don't know how to do that, but I think that would be a pretty cool project to accomplish. So creating a metronome clock that moves side to side, displaying the time. So one of those, I saw this at Target years ago. I don't know if they still have them. It's where your bass, and then you have this metronome that goes, and a light that emits light every nanosecond, every millisecond or something. And once it gets to a certain distance that it's oscillating, you actually get to see what the time is. If it's going short, you can barely read it, but the more that it extends itself, you can start to read it better. And that's what I want to create. I want to find a way to do that on this, where it prints in this location. I don't know how to do that, man. I have an idea on how to do it, but it seems a lot simpler than it's probably gonna probably seem at first. But let's go ahead and finish this up. So I have things to look forward to next week, which is good. So with the code right now, this is what I currently have. This red thing on the left-hand side is a power-up, and as you saw the green paddle glitch out, that was the issue. That was the original issue I have. So if you get to see, it's glitching again. That I want it to, once it hits the paddle, I need it to disappear. That needs to disappear, etc. So that's the one thing that I need to fix. And then after that, I'm going to put a level at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. So, and the level I think is going to be more straightforward and easier. So what I need to do is, where is it being triggered? Well, it's being triggered in the brick section. No, in the power-up section. So when it touches the paddle, it's, what if, it doesn't have to be perfect. Because the thing is, when it becomes, oh, okay, so one good thing to think about, for at least how I'm thinking about it, is that what is happening needs to be taken into account. Not what I want to happen, what is happening. What is happening is once it hits the paddle, that power up hits that paddle, it flips itself back to the other way, and then or again, Bane equals false, and when Bane equals false and Boone equals false, we initialize it all over again. So what we need to do is to remove it. So how do we remove it? Instead of turning it, or here's the logic. Once the Bane or Boone is true and it starts falling, once it hits the paddle, Boone or Bane is false. Now the issue there is that when it comes back up into the very beginning, when both Boone and Bane are false, we initialize a random percentage and we then create a Boone and or Bane. Hey, fantastic. Stop it. Okay, no, I don't even, no. Not even caring. I didn't even read it, I just thought no. Okay. So if, and it's one of the reasons, so let me just turn this off. There's no reason for me to have it. Because, again, no interruptions. That was an interruption. Lost my train of thought for a second. Wastes a little bit of time. So that's why dedicated time towards any activity is going to be better for you. So what needs to happen is instead of just making either Bane, so when Boone or Bane is true, what happens is that it power up X, that's the issue, is that once we set a random percentage, we need to make power up X and power up Y equal to whatever the prior X1 or Y1 is of the next paddle that is hit. Or we can make them 0 and print it at the top left-hand corner. So I think that's what needs to happen. So, But, okay, well, let's make it in the middle of the map. I think that'll be a good thing, just in case. Or probably make it like 645, 500 or something. So we'll make power up X equal 250, just for the sake of it, because I want to see how this will work going through the function. It's a test. No idea. So 500. If it goes through the floor, we do the exact same activity. If it either hits a power up or it goes past that, play. Okay, so what happens is once this is hit, no, that's a good thing. The reason that this is a good thing is that now we have changed its glitching to a reset position. So what I probably need to do is make it null, that power up X no longer exists. I kind of like that idea. So if it goes to the floor, there we go. No, this is really good. Instead of going to make it 250, I want it to be null. I don't want there to be anything. So I wonder if I can do that. Null does not match it with integer. Okie dokie. So we'll go back to 250. The reason that this is, again, there's a train. The reason that I think that this is a good thing is when we have successfully stopped it from glitching out as much as it did. It's still a little bit glitchy once it hits, probably like it flips once or twice, which is not good. So what needs to happen is, how about this? We do this. We flip it, because once it's hitting, it's first turning it to false, which once it goes through its loop again, will change that percentage. So what I need to do is do that after I give it a new location to be at. And then I think that should get rid of it. Again, it's just the order at which the power-up has been hitting the paddle or the ground. It's still happening. But it's happening a lot less, so I am a fan of that. I am very much a fan of that. Oh, okay. Now I know what the issue is. Is that when it touches the paddle, I'm not taking into account what the change that is happening. Yeah, I'm not taking into account the change that is happening. So let me do that. Let me get a positive one. I want to make my paddle long. Dang it. Come on. Come on. The reason I'm doing that is because it's not taking into account the enlargening. It's only doing a maximum. And it's only flipping. Come on. Why is it? Really? Now here's the weird thing, is that it's when it touches, what is happening? Ooh, I might just be done with this. Yeah. I don't know. Keep going. I'm going to try at least. I'm going to try. Because what's happening is, what I'm seeing, as quickly as it's happening, only the positive, only the boon, the green triangle that's pointed upwards, the red one immediately goes away. But the green one flips. It doesn't, it flips. Meaning it goes from a boon to a bane, and then once it hits the bane, it resets itself. So there's something happening specifically with a bane I need to know that's different than a boon. Oh, that's freaking heck. Okay, so the issue was with the bane, I wanted it exactly the way that it's happening. But I didn't take into account that there's also a boon section. So of course it was doing exactly what I was telling it to do, because I just didn't take into account the second section. I was doing it for Bane, not for Boon. Thus, we got a difference with Bane and Boon activities. So I'm going to click run again, and what should happen is both the Boon and the Bane and the Boon should now just happen once, like that. Once it hits, boom, boom. There's no switching. That's the thing I was looking for. So again, if we notice, see, notice how it's going through. The reason that it's going through, that's what I wanted to show. It's not touching it specifically, because we go over here. Power up X is greater than or less than paddle X. The center of X plus or minus 65. That number needs to change depending on the paddle. So paddle width, I probably need to put paddle width 15 for the radius for the ball, and I could again, that would be even another power up, is that there is a value. The reason that this number is 65 is because 50 is the half of the width of the paddle, and 15 is the radius of the ball. For me to create another power up of like either increasing or decreasing the size of the ball, I would make radius a variable for the ball. So all I have to do is add or subtract to that radius that will print that value of whatever it is. It's the diameter, but that's why it's 15. It'd be diameter of 30. So what I need to do now is paddle W divided by 2 plus 15. That's what I need to do here. So, yeah, paddle W minus paddle W divided by 2 minus 15. Okay. Minus 15. I think that'll work. That should work. And then plus 15. plus 15. Touches paddle, 15 for radius. $15 equals radius. Okay. So we're going to go here, and we're going with power up. If power up is 625 or 67, between those two numbers, that's good. I'm going to go with that because y being itself, yes. So I'm going to also change. Now I just changed the boon. There's also a bane section I need to change. So if it touches the exact same, well, I can just copy and paste because its dependency is still dependent on the exact same location to change. So now we should have it where it increases or decreases. Okay, that's not, okay, so what's happening is that the power up changed the parameters of the rectangle paddle. But there's also a place that is also printing that exact same thing. So what I need to do is print. I need to go to paddle and paddle W, yes, paddle X, yes. Paddle W will equal a certain thing, so there's some place else that is also printing that size of paddle. So I need to go rectangle. Let's find all the rectangles. Rectangle 250. Yeah, actually, that's, no, that's the top of it. Gotcha. So let's bring this find section. Find rectangle mode center, rectangle paddle. Oh, there we go. That's what's printing each single time. After the countdown, we're constantly, after the timer is, if timer is greater than 0, this is what it is. So we'll make this paddle W. And I want to reset the value of paddle W to be 100. So there we go. Okay, so it's already resetting itself, but just need to set its location. Ooh. Okay, so I'm going to do find again, and I'm going to find that rectangle. This one is creating a static position for the paddle at the very beginning. Rectangle 250, 730, this should be the very bottom. Yes, it's the very bottom. So what I need to do is ball. See, I don't know where it would be created from here. Direction, comment, nope. Find. So it's printing somewhere. X1, Y1, these are all bricks, so I don't think it should be printing anywhere else. I'm just going to run it again. So once this happens, see, yeah, it's, whoa, it's not even registering. It's not even registering anymore. Yeah, that's an issue. This sucks. Yeah. Oh, no, guys, that's really cool. It's now only doing it on the sides. It's not doing it in the center of it. Only when it touches the very side can it. Oh, on the left-hand side, very specifically. Yeah, not the right. Look at that. It goes right through, even through the center. But the only place that it does hit is on the left-hand side. So that's an issue. Oh my gosh. Why? Why do you do these things to me? Because I'm trying to help you. Darn you. Okay. So why is that happening that way? So the rectangle, again, is only when I changed paddle, the width, I think, yeah, the width to its variable. So that's the curious part. I'm gonna go back to paddle, power up, and I'm going to see, I want to question this. If the power up X is greater than or equal to paddle X, excuse me, is greater than paddle X minus 100, if paddle X is the center, minus half of whatever paddle W is, minus 15 to the left-hand side, and it is less than the paddle X. That should be a plus. That should be a plus. That's why. Okay, no, that made a lot of sense. That was my fault. Okay, so a simple adding and subtracting changed that entire function. Because what was happening is that it was only, the statement was, from the left-hand side to the left-hand side plus 15. Because of that, because I was subtracting the paddle W divided by 2, which is 50 for base default, it was subtracting that number to both the points. So they were both on the left-hand side plus or minus 15. So what I just changed is I now moved that 50 to the left. I added that 50 and it should go to the right. So now we should have a functioning paddle to be hit each time. Look at that. Look at that, guys. That's amazing. So it goes down one, up. So I want to see now, again, trying to articulate while it's happening is a little bit difficult. So what my objective is now is to test whether or not when it hits the paddle, it increases it or decreases the size of the paddle by 1. There's a maximum length and there is a minimum length. It can't go beyond either of those two maximums. So that's what I'm going to be testing now. Okay, 1, 1. I need to have two negatives. One negative, another negative. I want to test it one more time with another negative, with another subtracting. Okay, so it doesn't go any lower than this. Now the last thing I want to test is that it increases by 1, and it just doesn't jump automatically to the maximum. Because if it does, that's an issue. It did increase it to the maximum. So again, it's something I thought I saw. Glad I caught it. So what's happening in the boon section? Again, that's what's triggering it in the boon section. If paddle W equals 60, then I want you to make it 100. If it's 100, oh, that's the issue. Yeah, that's the issue. Oh, freaking F. Okay, so I made a logic here that once we read it out loud, it's so dumb. Okay, so it says if paddle W equals 60, make it 100. The next line of code is if paddle W is 100, make it 140. So the logic cannot be interrupted and has to make it from 60 to 140. So I need to switch the two if I want to have this, I need to switch the two. Because I'm trying to increase it. And by increasing it to 100, it automatically, if I had it the other way around, from a moment ago, it would immediately make it to the max. So this way is that if it's 100, make it 140. And then our next line of code is that if it's 60, move it to 100. And once it's 100, it can't make it to 140, which is the line above. It has to go through every other line of code first before it can reach all the way back to the very top. So now we should have a fixed. Now we should have a fixed increase 1 and then 2. Boom! It doesn't increase beyond that. Going down 1, increasing. That's very phenomenal. Now, here's the last thing that I need to fix with the power-up. I need to fix it where it doesn't print itself. It holds at a set point or doesn't print. I may need to change where that power-up, that triangle is because once the paddle is hit, then you may do something with it. Or I could print it. For the time being, I can just make it into x1. Maybe. I could probably set it to x1. Yeah. Set triangle to a single dot. I don't know. It's the drawing function now. Where do I set it? I could print it while it constantly falls beyond. Um, yeah. No. I don't want it to continuously fall. I want it to only fall when a boon or bane is true. And I want a boon or bane to be true only after it is hit. It makes it false. Okay, so when it hits, when it either hits the paddle or it hits the floor, it makes it false. And then when it's false, what happens is back up here, it goes. It once Bane and Boon are false, which once the power up goes away, both one of them is false by default. Then once that one that is true hits either the paddle or the floor, it is false as well, which immediately executes this code. This code, I want it to hold in a certain position. So only when it hits a brick, that's when I want to execute it. So I'm going to go to the brick section and I'm going to try to find it. Power up, again, once brick 3 is false, then execute the code. Power up. Yeah. Yeah. So what if I just did it with x1? Let's just try to find it with x1. xy1, the brick one, the lightest brick that we have. Finding the value of, what do I do with it? If I go up to brick 1, there's a lot of code here. Again, I'd love to simplify it to the best possible way if it's something that I think that I should come back to in a month or so. Having a fresh mind, doing other projects should give me a viewpoint, a new perspective to look at the entire code. So I'm good with it kind of messing up. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just don't want it to be on screen. What I could do doing that way would actually remove what I just did. Just an internal thought process of, if it hits the paddle, it can go through the paddle, but it doesn't change until it goes through the floor. I think that's a method, and it keeps going through the floor until I hit a new paddle, I hit a new brick, and once the new brick, then it resets that value. Something like that. I think that would work. I think that would work. That would be a method to do, is that once it goes through this change, don't turn it false, just change it. Yeah. What if I do that? Paddle. Power up. I'm going to do, instead of the Bane becoming false, dang it. Once it hits the paddle, only once it goes to the floor will it become false. And no, because once it's beyond that point, I don't want you to just make it false. I want you to only yeah. And if I remove that, okay. So I'm thinking wrong. I thought wrong on that one. So keeping it the way that it is. So my objective as of right now, again, it's the one objective, is how do I make it where it doesn't, let's make it, there we go. How do I make it where the power up X and power up Y are in a fixed location? They must stay there until we get a new boon or bane. But the issue is that once it hits either the paddle or the floor, the boon or bane will, again, there's an architecture problem that I'm having right now. Again, it's a good problem to have compared to other things. I have enough food. That's a good problem. So, again, the issue is once it either hits the paddle or the floor, it becomes false. And once both things are false, that's when because it shouldn't still be running. That's the weird part. If I go over here, where in the draw function? Power up. That's why it's happening. Power up is in the draw function only. What I need to do is have the power up function only operate after it is false. After something hits false, what I need to happen is to have an additional. You can only turn it on when it was false, and because the false will turn back on, going in the power up function, that only when both of them are false, or when in the brick location, the brick section, is that when if I was to use this power up in this one section, it only does it in this one section when the brick is false. That's the issue. So if I was to hit this, it only becomes, oh, that's actually pretty cool. No. Something that I didn't really register. Oh no, that's an issue now. Now it's not even printing in any of the locations. But I could remove the power up function from brick 1, brick 2, and brick 3. Because I don't want it to be, I want there something to be triggered when power up happens. So I'm going to do, instead of just power up, I'm going to hit power. I'm going to hit power. Switch. Power up switch. So I'm going to make this into another Boolean. Power up switch. This is going to be, it's false. Because it's false, so I want there to be something where it's true. I want you to do everything below. Is only when power up switch equals true. Yeah. So I'm going to do an if power up switch equals true. Then I want you to do all these things. I want you to then reset a new location for either Boon or Bane to exist. Then, what I want you to do after that save power up switch will reset itself back to false. Where is it? Boon Bane, reset power up switch equals false. The reason being is in the power up section, that when it's true, find a new location. Find whether or not to create a Boon or Bane. Either a Boon or Bane. Create either a Boon or Bane. Now, because of this, yeah. If it's on, if power switch is true, do this. If power, and then all this is going to be, if power switch is false, that's what I want to figure out. That's what I want to do, execute. Is that if power switch is false, which this needs to be before or after? I'd say before. Yeah, let's go with before. We could switch it if we need. If power switch is false, meaning there was no execution. There we go. Dang it, come on. There we go. If power switch is false, then there is print power up this thing. I want you to do this. No, I want you to print the triangle at wherever I want you to make power up X. I don't want you to print it. Okay. I don't want you to print anything. I just want you to make these values equal 0. Do I want them to be 0? Equal 0 a certain location. Equal 0. 0, 0. Going back over here in the brick location, power up X. Once the brick goes away, prior X. So here's the cool part. I could switch this around a bit, but what I'm doing is power up X equals 0, power up Y equals 0. I will flip the switch on, power up switch, flip it on to true once it hits a brick. So what I'm going to do is after a brick is hit, then I'll flip the switch on, and it can only be flipped, and the switch can only what I'm going to do is power up switch will equal true, and I have to turn it back off somehow. I only want to turn it back off when in the power up section, when it either goes below the floor of the boon or bane, here or here, and 2 more locations, here or here. I think this will work. Pressing play. So what should happen is once it becomes false, nope. Okay, so I'm not getting an exact. I think there was a pause there. It was so subtle. Let me try it again. Yeah. Okay, so it's not working. So the power up switch equals true. I want to once it's true, then we can figure out. Once it resets itself, power up switch equals true. Once it's true, figure out a new location. Oh, that's the thing. Is that once it equals true, I only want it to be true. I want you to turn it to false. False. Okay, that was the issue. They were all being true. I needed to turn this to be false. That after the boon or bane goes away and hits either the paddle, once it either hits the paddle or the floor, it should go away to a set spot. I can change that set spot. I just need to get it to a set spot. Okay, so once it either hits the floor or the top, we should have it at a set location. So now it should actually be. Now I think it's still in the top left-hand corner here, but all the draw functions have been printing over them constantly. So when I hit a new paddle, oh my gosh, I fixed it. That's amazing. Okay, I want to get a positive one just to make certain. And the last location. Okay. Yeah. Now there's another thing that I would like to fix if I could fix it, but I'm going to move on. The thing that I could fix is that I just saw is when the ball hits the paddle, I think there is a set percentage already only from 0, from its normal paddle position. I have yet to take into account when it's smaller or when it's wider, I think. It's something that I'll test, but look at that. That's amazing. Yeah, that is amazing. I got it to work. Okay, so again, where it's being stored is in the 0, 0 position on the canvas at the top left-hand corner, and that value does not change until we hit a paddle. Uh-oh. Once it goes to the floor. I think it's once it hit the blue bar. No, paddle number 2. Okay, let me try to hit that blue bar. See if it works there, because it's not working for the second bar. No, it's only working for the first bar. Yeah. So what's oh, I didn't extend it. I only did it for this section. Okay, so I'm gonna copy and paste. Yeah. Power up switch equals true. There, yeah, I didn't add it to the other location, so that was so my fault. So my fault. Okay. And I'm going to also add it in this section. Wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. I want to highlight. I don't think this is correct. Let me check. The brick section. The prior 3 equals the x3. When does that ever happen? Power up. Prior 3. Oh, brick 3 has an issue. Yeah, look at that. Prior 2 equals. Okay. So I need to remove that. Okay, so again, simple things, simple things. So at the very beginning, that's an issue that I need to fix. It needs to start out at 0, 0. So power up at the very beginning of startup. It needs to power up X, again, on the setup with the power up. Reset power ups. Power up X equals 0. Lowercase power up. Y equals 0. That's why it was having an issue. So on canvas, yeah. Now it should start at the top left-hand corner. Okay, that's it. That's an issue. So if it's false, I may need to make it initially true. No, if they're both, no, that shouldn't be happening because both Boon and Bane are false. So if Boon and Bane are false, then go ahead and do if power switch is true, and it doesn't become true. Power switch is false. Where is it? Yeah. Where is that happening? Power up switch. Power up switch is false. Where does it become true? It shouldn't be coming true unless a brick has been hit. So if a brick has been hit, then you turn it to true. Oh, if brick 1 is false. That's why it happens. Yeah. So as of right now, what I need to do is I may need to set it to 0, 0 here as well. That once it's false. So the power up switch starts at 0, 0, but because of that, because Boon and Bane are false, because at the very beginning the bricks are false. The bricks are false because they're still trying to find a place to print. That's why while they're trying to search a place to be printed, they're false. So the very top left-hand corner is when something can be printed, the power up, because it's dependent on the bricks being false. So that is a fundamental issue I have to now change. I have to change the power up location. Again, so I think this will be the last thing before I'm done with power up section, and then I'll move on to the leveling. Leveling I think will be much more straightforward. Should be a lot more straightforward, where I'm only modifying the velocity and the scores. That's the only thing that I'm going to be modifying, and then where to execute it. So with the logic that is happening right here, is when brick 1, at the very beginning, when it is false, what I want to do is set if countdown. Okay, I love that. Okay. If countdown is greater than 0, Excuse me. Because what my objective is that after the countdown goes away, because here's what's happening. There's when the bricks are trying to lay itself, it is false by default from the very beginning. So what I need to do is have something that can interrupt that process just long enough for all the bricks to set into place, which means that they'll all be true. So while countdown is greater than 0, print power up in the top left-hand corner, 0, 0. And so I'm going to make power up x equals 0 and power up y equals 0. And this prevents the beginning bricklaying, which makes power up switch. Is that the power up switch? Yeah, this prevents the beginning bricklaying, which makes power up switch true, and stalls long enough until all bricks are true. All bricks equal true. So that's important. So at the very beginning, again, at the very beginning of before we start seeing the canvas, the code is already working. All the bricks are false, trying to find a location. So how we set it up, again, up to this point, was that we only execute a power up when a brick is false. So whichever brick was false first, which is brick 1, I'm assuming, it sets it at the very top left-hand corner and starts the process of a falling power up. So what I need to do is, until all of these are set, which should be after the countdown section, I could even do when brick 1 is true, when brick 1, brick 2, and brick 3 are all true. I'm going to even make that. I could make, but this is actually a lot simpler. It's 2 lines of code rather than having 6 or 8. I could make it with if brick 1, 2, and 3 are true, then do it. I could do that. So I'm going to press run, and now we should have it at the top left-hand corner. We can see it. That is unfortunate, because I'd love to have the whole thing print over it. Yeah, I'd love to have the whole thing print over it. But the value should change once we hit a brick. And we didn't. Why? That's not good. No, that's not good at all. Yeah, it should be doing it, but it's not. Okay, so if the countdown is greater than 0, put power up x to 0, put power up y to 0. So something is happening when we hit a brick, power up, if they're both false, which they are, power up y, power up switch equals true. Power up x equals prior x1. So the countdown should be 0. Because I think we switched timer. Yes, okay. What we need to do is this. I know what I did wrong. Okay. I know what I did wrong. So I need to do another if statement. If timer is less than 200, the reason for this is I could make it with, pause calculations long enough at the beginning. Yeah, I'm going to even make another one. Pause calculations at the very beginning long enough to allow all bricks to be true. So, hate it when I have to keep scrolling because I can't do this correctly. It's the scrolling from left to right on the console. I just don't like it. Okay, so pressing play. What we should do is now it's on the top left hand corner, but only when the timer. Oh, that's not good. But it did hold it long enough. Ow, excuse me. Ow, excuse me? I have no idea. So I need to make power up equal false. Also, power up switch equals false, because I don't know why it's turning to true. So maybe after the 200, maybe. Okay, so what I think was happening is that it turns it false, and then it turns it to be true. So what I need to do is at the very beginning is if timer equals 0. That's what I need to do. At the very beginning is if timer equals 0, this is what we do. Yeah. If it's less than 100. There, I'm going to do here before the top is printed, where I want it to be. I'm going to put it before it. If the timer is less, what I want you to do is print the power up at the top left hand corner. It's not there. Come on. So what my thinking is that once I hit a power up, it's not switching. If timer is less than 200, it should just have gone away. Yeah. So what's going on here is I have no idea. Now I did set it to the very top left-hand corner. That's good. But when it hits a brick, what is happening? If Bane and Boone are also false, I want you to make power up switch true. Only when it becomes false do I want you to do that. So, okay, what if I removed this? Because I think there's an error here that's happening that I'm not seeing. Play. So it should still have a falling thing at the left-hand side, but once it gets to the very bottom, it should then start repeating that process of false, false. Oh, no, I already fixed that. So we have a new one. Good. Good. So let me try to get that blue one. Okay, so it's functioning properly. The only thing that we have an issue with is when at the very beginning it's printing on the top left-hand side. So what if instead, I hit that keyboard of mine. Yeah. Really need to get a replacement for it. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so one of the issues that I have is the timer thing is that if it's less than 200, then we make power up x equals 0 and power up switch equal false. So whatever the logic is right now is I need to make it where it stalls long enough until the clock equals 0. So only do it after the clock equals 0. So I'm calling the power up function during the drop section, which is something I talked about earlier, but I didn't address. I talked about it earlier. I addressed the issue, but I didn't change it. Oh, I was changing other things that needed to be changed first. That's why I kept coming back to the issue. I want to only do it after timer equals 0. Then I want to have access to all the call the power up function. Yeah. Only after the timer hits. Then I want you to do everything that you've just done. So this I can get rid of. Save. Play. Look at that. Timer should... okay, that's dumb. No, but that's good. That's really good because now we have progress. Now we knew what the actual issue was. Not an issue. Actually, yeah, an issue. Now... at the very beginning, I don't want it to be printed at... what if I put it in the brick section? What if I solely put it in the brick section? Why do I even have to call? Yeah, what if... where is the brick section? The brick section is outside of this one. And I only want to start executing it. What if I only executed it after each brick was hit? Now what if I do this? I remove this power up in this draw section, and I replace it and put it in to each of brick 1, brick 2, and brick 3. Something that I thought before was a good idea, now I think is a good idea. And then was once good, then bad, then good. So, okay. Oh, look at that. There is no functioning power-up falling. I only wanted to execute when a brick is hit and only turn off. No, because that's only when it's false. Yeah. Okay, so we should not be seeing one because it's only false for a few moments. I think that's what's actually happening here. It's false for 1 or 2 seconds, and then it goes away. Like there, you see it printing at the top left-hand corner, which isn't solving the issue at all. So, what I need to do is actually remove this from each of these sections. Because what's happening is that once it's false, prior x1 is something why is it prior x1? That's probably the entire issue. Yeah, prior x1. Maybe before that. Oh, that's what I needed to have done. I know what I needed to have done. That's what I needed to have done. Something that I deleted before is power up x equals, no, not x. Prior x1 equals x1. I need to set a prior x and prior y for each of the bricks. I think that's one of the issues. That's why it's printing on the top left-hand corner. So I need to do prior 1 equals y1, and copying and pasting, and I'm going to set a prior set the prior point to the current point before the brick finds a new home. That's, again, I like that. That's actually pretty cool. So I'm going to copy paste into the other 2 sections. And a very simple issue that could have been solved. It's being solved right now. So x2, y2, x2, y2. And then one more time down here. It's going to be y3, x3, y3, x3, y3. Play. So, okay, everything's still good. It's not printing. What should be happening is, in the code, if I understand correctly now, is that when I hit either of these bricks, it will now print that power-up in wherever that brick was hit. Because the power-up x and power-up y is always equal to whatever the prior x or y coordinate of whichever brick was hit. That should be where it is now. Nope. Oh my gosh, so much thought process with so little in reward. Why would anyone do such a thing? Okay, so now I understand why people give up on a lot of stuff. I try, and I fail. Every single one of those times. So what I want to do is, so it's like I don't fault people for failing now, because I understand the pain, but you got to keep going. That's where success happens. You just got to keep going through the pain, go through the failures, continue onward towards glory, onward to Excelsior. So power up X Yeah, so it's actually happening right here. Ha ha ha. Power up switches, I want to only happen. Why does it have to be when, oh yeah, when it's only false? Hmm. So, oh, what's happening there, oh my gosh, is that I think power up is not being called after the timer. It's not being called at all. It was only being called, power up was not being called in the brick section, and it wasn't even in the draw section. So it wasn't printing at all. So now it should be printing after the timer. After the timer hits, good. Flippin' heck, and I just exit this out. Oh, that frustrates me more than you could possibly imagine, because that sets me back so many times. I made, what, 15, 20 minutes of progress, 20 minutes of thought process, and started back where I started. It's like doing a maze, and then you go right back to where you were, and you realize, I've been doing this for quite some time. Why did I get back to this point? Oh, that's annoying. So, hey, being able to articulate why I'm upset actually helps me calm down. And then understanding how I describe something actually also affects my feelings. So that's an important aspect. That's an important aspect, yo. Yo. So power up function. When the power up function is happening, what's happening with the power up function? At the very beginning, if the power up switch is true, which it should not be, when does it become true? It should be false. And Bane should be false. All those things should be false. If power up switch, so something is happening to make it true. Power up switch is true somehow and some way, somewhere. It's making it true, and it shouldn't be. Power up switch false. Only place. Power up switch. Copy and paste, so I don't have to keep typing it in. Because again, same thing. I hate it when I have to type something in and then it sets me back. Typing it sets me back. That's annoying. That's annoying as hell, man. Yeah, I know how I'm looping that in my head is actually what's causing things to happen. So it's only happening after brick. No, it's not. If brick 1 is true. Oh, no. This is in the brick section. Yeah. So that's why. If brick is false. Oh! That's where it's happening. Power up switch is becoming true at the very beginning. The thing that I kept stalling is the thing that keeps flipping the switch as well. At the very beginning, all the bricks are false until they find a home on the page. And by putting that power up switch equals true is actually at the very beginning turning it on. And I want it to turn off. So I need to have not be there. I need this to not be there. Now let's press save and play, and let's see how it runs. Now it should happen where the 0 is at the top left-hand corner of the screen, and when I hit a power-up button, it's okay. So no, we have a good one. We have progress. We have, again, progress. I'll take it. Is that when it's false, something needs to happen. Only when Bane and Boone equal true or false, it's so that's actually where I needed to have put it, but I don't need to put it in if it's Boone or Bane true or false. What I need to do is, okay, so what is, I guess, the trigger? So let's do it this way. Let me put back in all those changes that I made. Why am I doing this? The reason being is, even though there may be something falling, again, I'm changing the perspective of it. After the countdown, we should see something fall at the very left-hand side, but after it hits the ground, which, boom, once I hit a new paddle, then I can start getting that power up again. That was what I was looking for. The one issue I have right now is for it to not print a power up on the left-hand side of the screen. So, again, it's the last thing before I move on. So it's going through the countdown, and the countdown itself is just a delay. What I need to do is I may need to switch power. You're dead, Jim. I love that. It's funny. At the very beginning of the game, what I want to do, power up switch. What if I turn that to true? What if I turn that to true? Or turn that to false after not just the timer, I actually, the power up is going to happen after it's above 200. But yeah. Power on power ups. Activate power up. Oh, deactivate. Activate power up. Deactivate power up. So pause power up. Power up switch equals false. Somehow and in some way it's still doing something. I don't know. So what should be happening is top left hand corner, there's nothing falling, but then now that not timer is greater than 0, no. So the countdown equals if the timer is greater than 0, we will create a static position for the ball until I click something. So yeah. So I shouldn't put it in this one location because the timer always is increasing. So what I need to do is once the countdown, if the timer is greater than 200, what about the one that's that's the one that I created at the very beginning. Oh, that's amazing. If timer is less than 200, what I want you to do is to create this power up. Pause. Pause power up. So we should still have it. Okay, now, there we go. Pause power up. There we go, guys. Oh my gosh, this feels great. I'm gonna go and celebrate, like, right now. So, uh-oh. Yeah, look at that. I wanna get another positive. I wanna get a bonus, whatever. Flipping heck. Come on. Do it. Boop, 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 boop. Now what I'm going to do is instead of doing it every 100 points, I'm going to do it every 10 points for the leveling system. Okay, so it's only doing that. Let me get a positive one, because if it's not turning to the positive, that's an issue. Okay, so we do have a positive. Good. Getting it. I'm done. Now let's get this one. Yeah, I'm done. So again, that causes for celebration. That causes me to. Oh my gosh! No, it's not a bug. Okay, it's just dirt or something. Gosh, that looked freaking creepy as heck. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh. Yeah. This causes for a celebration to wear pants now. So I'm gonna grab my pants and start wearing them. Oh my gosh, I feel like that took so much time. How long? An hour and 20 minutes. Actually, an hour and 10 minutes because the first beginning 10 minutes or so was me just talking about stuff. So, again, hey guys, that's really good. That's really good. That's really, 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 really good. Oh my gosh, I feel relief right now. I really do. Okay, it's like you're done with a big poo. That's what it feels like. It's like, you know what, you feel it took so much energy and effort and time and resources. It took so much stress. It took so much effort. And we're done. It's just like I feel relief. I still feel tired though. So you know what? Let's get myself going. Let me pump myself back up. Let me do something. Let me just, celebrate or something. Ooh, let me do something dorky and silly. Let me do something that might be kind of like outside of my comfort zone. Just kind of like wiggle and wobble around, just kind of like shake it off. get my body into it so I can get my whole mind and heart into what's going on. So engage the body, you engage the mind. You engage the mind, the body may not be following. So you got, again, both may be true, but when you get the body engaged, everything else follows. So, oh my gosh. Again, I'm going to be completing my goal. It has been such a long time since I've been able to create or achieve my goal. That is phenomenal. It is such a good psychological thing that's happening right now. It really is. It's like I feel a metamorphosis happening. There's cultivation happening inside of my heart. There's something happening. I feel like as light as a feather, but as strong as a mule. I probably should just say bull. Let's go with bull. As strong as a bull, but as light as a feather. Oh, man. It's really hot in here now. I wonder why. So going back over here, complete the power up function, done. Now the last two that I have, and again, the last one is going to be probably the most painstakingly detailed oriented, but it's not really going to be, actually it's probably going to require thinking because I need to understand how the code's working. So again, this is practice for the very last goal I have of making comments in all the sections so I can understand them, or updating the comments or even deleting them if I need. So level at the bottom of the game, at the bottom left hand corner of the screen. So I'm going to make it 10 points so it'll go much quicker rather than 100 points. Let's go with 10 points. So once it gets to 100 points, then it'll just go, and I'll change it back to 100 points. After I'm done. And then I'll test that out a little bit and then I'll move on. So the velocity right now, velocity.y, what I want to do is a level. Yeah, new tab, level. And what I'm going to do here is increase the level for every x points. For every x points. For every 100, level every 100 points. Every 100 points. Boom. Now what I want to do after that, that's very simple. So I'm going to go with void, creating a new function. Void in front removes, declares that the functions, when I call the function, it holds no value itself. It's calling all the commands inside of itself, like an if-then statement sort of. Void level. I'm going to make this one void level. So this level itself is going to do what exactly? What exactly will it be doing? So what I want to happen is at the bottom left hand screen, let me take everything from the top right hand screen, the score counter, I'm going to copy and paste and put it instead of where it is right now, I'm going to print it on the bottom left hand screen. So I don't want to print score, I'm going to print level. So level is going to be a variable. So I'm going to put integer, because I only want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to do whole numbers. Integer level, I'm just initializing it. The level will be initialized in the setup to level 1. So it'll be reset level. Level equals 0. Well, level equals Ron Weasley. Ron Howard. Ron Howard's pardon my language, but Ron Howard is kind of a beta as of right now, because he said some comment and it's got under my skin. So, it's good to call people betas and such, but he said something, if I remember correctly from yesterday, he was blaming people. He was blaming the fans of something, or he was blaming YouTubers for what's going on or something. He blamed somebody, and when you blame somebody, it's just like I blame somebody. So if I blame the blamer, if I blame the person who's blaming others, I'm not blaming them for anything. I'm just calling them a bad word. There's a big difference there. I'm not blaming you for anything. I'm just calling you a word. That's actually a pretty bad word. Self-censorship. Here. So after the level equals 1, what I want to go over here is level is set. And I want to put this. Dang it. Okay. Because I had something in the copy section, so I need to go back up to score, copy paste, and put it into level. Level is set is initialized in setup. So I'm going to go over here to score, copying and pasting all of this. I'm going to go to level and paste, and it says print the level at the bottom left corner. Bottom left corner. Now the text alignment is I want to be on the left. The text size is still going to be 40. The fill is going to be white. 255. 0 is black. Score, I want to make it level. So the level, what I want to do is if something happens, what I want you to do is to increase that level. So what should happen? That's a great question. What should happen is if something happens, what I want you to do is level plus equals 1, which we're adding 1 to the level. So no, I shouldn't set it back to 1. I should set it back to the score. So if the score, yeah, but that requires a lot of if-then statements if it's in between this or something. If the score adds 50, I don't know. Yeah, let's do it that way. Just if-then statement for all 10 levels. Yeah. So we're gonna if score, and we have to call level somewhere in the draw function for it to start activating. Right now, it's not being used at all. So if score is less than, greater than, and is equal to 0, and it's less than. And score is less than 10. We could change, I'm going to change that to like 50 or 100 or something, just initializing what it is as of right now. Very simple. So if this happens, I'm going to copy and paste. Okay, and there's only going to be 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Increase level when score reaches a certain point. Okay, so there may be a simpler way of doing this. I could just say level equals 2 rather than just say +1. So if score is in between is equal to 0 or 10, if it's a greater than or equal to, let's do greater than or equal to. I think that'll be better. So this will be 10, 20, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and then it'll be 100. And if it's beyond that, it'll be, so it's at 1. Wait, if it's in between 0 and 10, we're going to add 1, which would the level be to 2 at the very beginning. So why don't I just set it to a certain level? That sounds right. So we're going to make this into a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if it's between this, it's 1. So this will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 100. Now, this is going to be, there we go. Now, I just want it to be, if it's greater than 90, we're at level 10. There we go. So I'm going to press play. No, I have to actually put the level somewhere. The level should be, well, actually, I need to make this different, because this is a X all the way to the right, and then 35. I need to pretty much make this the opposite. This needs to be the left-hand side. 492.5 minus 500 is 7.5. So I'm going to do 7.5 from the left-hand side. Going from left to right is X, the X-axis of where I'm going to be printing it. And I want it to go all the way to the bottom. And I'm going to make that, instead of 35, I'm going to make that 750 minus 35. So let's just go with that. So 750 minus 35 should be 715. That sounds like a morning time to me, the way that I said it. 715. 715. Uh-oh. Duh. I didn't print it yet, but I did fix this. That was important. So I need to go over here, and I need to print the function level after... Wait. I would need to... Don't I need to do it after this one? Yeah. Probably. Print level. Oh. Let's see what happens. Okay, it just needs to go lower, but I'm just testing it right now. I really just care about the point value right now, so let's try to get a higher score as quickly as possible. Hey, I'm pretty good at this. It's at 10, it went to 2. Now something that I'd love to do is actually to maybe do this right after score rather than right after the, yeah. So let me change this level because because of its direct correlation to the function score. The closer I can make those functions, the less processing that happens in between, so less of a delay. So, which should make the eye be fooled by how quickly or slow it may be. So I need to go wherever score is, when I think score only is within the brick function. Score might be only within the brick function. So I'm going to go with the brick function and score. Whenever score happens, that's when we check. Update level. Yeah. After score, updates. After score updates, update level. Save, print. Now it should be directly after. And it's, uh-oh, that's not good. See, that's one of the issues that I had, is that it's printing right there. I don't want that. Now I could make it where, let me change where that is being printed. Yeah. Because the ball, what needs to happen after because the reason that is there, dang, man. Yeah. You know what? Because of how it's laid out, I need to make that notation. Because of how my program is laid out, even though there is a delay, when updating level, which actually can be a good thing. It's like once you hit 100, it doesn't immediately get there. There's this transformation that happens for like half a second, like moving on or something. So it would increase it after that. So because of how my program is laid out, even though there is a delay when updating the level, only after I must print the level after the bottom rectangle for it to be seen. So I can even remove the very bottom if I so chose. I keep saying that quite a many times. Oh. I could even put all the information at the very top of the screen. That would be something I'd like to do, but I want to do it this way so you have a little bit of information on top and a little information at the bottom. Just a little bit. More at the top, less at the bottom, because that's actually where you need to be looking most of the time. If you want to glance, you can look at the bottom left-hand corner or the options menu that I'd love to create at some point in my life in the bottom right-hand screen. So I must print the level after the bottom rectangle for it to be seen. So I'm going to do level. I'm going to call it here instead of wherever it is here. I don't need to call it twice. Play. Even those are okay. So I just need to bring it down some. 15. Bring it down 15 or so. No, not the brick section, this one. Level, I need to bring this down to 730. Why not? Play. Wow, that's actually further than I thought it would be. Oh, that's why. No, it's not. I don't get it. 750? Okay, so let's make this 740. This is weird. I don't know why it's printing the way that it is. Uh-oh. Cancel. Save. But we'll just go with it. 745. Yeah, I don't know if that's actually... Yeah, we'll go with that. And what I want to put is level plus level. Level 1. There we go. Level 1. I can make that text size a lot smaller. Let's just go with 35. Play. Level 1. Yeah, we can make that a little bit smaller. 30. Maybe even 25. Let's go with 25. And what I want to do is then bring this up to like 740. Because I think the starting origin is at this bottom left-hand side. See, that looks a lot better. That looks so much better. If I could bring it up probably 2 pixels or something. I don't know. Let's bring it up 2 pixels. So let's make this 38. Play. I think that'll work for me if I bring it down 1 more pixel. 39. It's so minor. But yeah, let's go with that. Now, again, I'd love to do something over here, so let's go ahead and do that. Also, print an options menu in the bottom right-hand corner, because it's something that I want to create, and I want to do it this way. So I'm going to copy, paste, delete that. I'm going to make right. Text size, let's just say the same size. We can make this 20. The fill is going to be, let's go with it. It's going to say options. Yeah. Menu, there we go. And it's going to be on the right-hand side of 500 minus 7.5 is 492.5. 492.5, and same place right there. Menu. So this also needs to be brought up a bit because I subtracted it. So 725. I don't know. No, 730. 735. So why not? Menu, and I also want to create a rectangle that goes right before it. Menu, rectangle. So what I'm going to do is rect. And I'm going to put the right-hand side. I'm going to put rectangle mode. I'm going to make that into a center. Then I'm going to make that to the right. Put the exact same coordinates here. Copy, paste, and it's going to be, let's just say 40 by 35. I don't know. Rectangle mode does not exist. Shape mode, what is it called? That's correct, but it's not doing it. Yeah. Corner, corner, radius, center. Oh, I'm doing it wrong. Something's wrong. So let me go to the brick location where it should have it correctly. Rectangle. Okay, let me go with the paddle. Save. Paddle. Rectangle mode, center. Oh, I did capital letters. That was my fault. Okay. Same letters, just I didn't need to uncapitalize them. So going back to level, I'm going to click this, and I'm going to do rectangle capital mode. There we go. To the right, that's what should happen with a printed rectangle. Are you kidding me? What? Oh, starting location, left-hand side. I don't know. That's wrong. No, it should. Oh, starting location, ending location. No, that doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, I thought it was X, Y, and then width and height. Is it width and height and then X and Y? I don't, what? What? Play. Everything just got flipped around on its butt. So let me just remove this. Menu. I'm okay with where things are right now. I now have a functioning game. That's amazing. Okay, so look at that. That's awesome. So the last thing that I need to do is we have a functioning power up. I can't increase that one. Let me get a -1 just so I can reset back to the original position. Boop. So I actually have to, yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah. Oh, no. What? I didn't do anything. I just hit level. Yeah. So, yeah. So we're at level 5, but what's the differentiation between level 5 and level 100 or so? How fast it goes? Yeah. The velocity isn't changing. That's the issue. So I need to go back to the ball, and I need to change velocity of it to equal a certain amount, whatever the level is. So it's initially going to be 4. It's going to increase it by 1.5. Level times 1.6. So the ball velocity, p vector is not -5, but -4. No. Level. What if I just increased it by whatever the level was? Divided by 2. The level divided by 1.25 or something. 0.75 divided by 0.75. Let's do that. Whatever this, and then whenever we change the velocity, whenever it hits, let's go to wherever score is. Where is score? Score only happens when a brick is hit. So when the score happens, what I want to do is change in the score function. I want it to, when the score increases, that if score, this is just when I would call the level, is that if the score equals this, change the level, and also change the velocity.y to equals level divided by 0.75 or something. Um, no, I don't have to do that. Yeah, I only want to do that after the level increases, the level changes. Um, Other than that, this level is actually going to equal 4. Or whatever. Level divided by whatever. So, yeah. I'm just going to constantly paste, 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 paste. Saving. Play. So velocity should, oh, it went from, it was a negative number. Oh, the score, no, that's correct, score. And that sucks. Okay, so apparently that sucks. Oh, so what if I go back to here? Okay, so I need to remove this. I don't want any change to happen in level 1. Once we hit level 2, yes, then we change it. So velocity should stay the same. So let me get to level 10 real quick. As fast as I possibly can. Whoa, we hit level 2 and immediately inversed itself. So we hit level 2, and whenever it hits the paddle, it just goes bonkers. Whoa. Velocity.y equals whatever the level is. Oh, that makes it plus. That makes it into a plus sign. I need to make velocity.y times velocity.y multiplied by that. That makes a lot more sense. I don't want to set it. I want to change it. So I'm going to, instead of just setting it to a value of level, because level's a positive number. The x and y coordinate for the origin number of processing 0, 0 is at the top left-hand corner. When we increase y, it goes down. That's what the issue was. I was setting it to a positive number divided by 0.75, which was shooting it downward. Because it's not shooting, because a negative number is what will shoot it up. A positive number will shoot it down. That's why each of these were going pew. So let me copy. Save, play. Now it should, every time, it should take whatever the velocity dot y was, the velocity y, whatever that parameter was, we are now going to increase it. No, we should plus or minus. Plus, not multiply, because that's going to increase it by a whole heck of a lot more than if we just multiplied it. Multiplication will continue to multiply 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. That'll create an exponential increase. I want it to just a steady increase. So I'm going to click play now. Okay, so once we get to 10 again. What the freaking heck? What happened there? Okay, so somehow it's going exponentially long. So I need to add whatever the level is. Let's just go plus 100 rather than divided by 0.75. Let's just do a plus. We add whatever the velocity is. We're adding a positive number. That's still the issue. I correctly identified the issue. I have yet to solve, to alleviate, to resolve that issue. What we're doing here is adding a positive number. So regardless of a positive or negative number of velocity, we are by definition multiplying by multiplying. So if it's a negative, I want to add a negative. If velocity dot, so I probably need to do an if-then statement for all of this. If velocity dot y is a positive number, do these functions. If velocity.y is a negative, positive or negative, just do one for positive and one for negative, because that's kind of an issue. Sort of. Okay, so what I need to do is if velocity dot y is greater than 0, positive number, because it's always going to be going up and down at some point. If it's positive, if it's a positive number, excuse me, what I want you to do is this: velocity dot y plus or minus level. I want you to add the level to it, divided by 2, something. Divided by 2. Something. Okay? Now, if it's a negative number, if yeah. Yeah. Actually, I could do that. I think that would work out quite nicely. Eh. Okay. Lots of code. Lots and lots of coding. Lots of code, not lots of coding. It's technically lots of coding. I am coding so hard right now. Thank you, copy paste button. Okay, so now what we have is it's level 3. We're going to make this into a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we could do this a lot simpler, I guess, using half the code. But for right now, this is what we have. So my objective is once I get to positive, that was cool, 9 points like that. I'll take it. What? Okay, that's pretty cool. I don't know why it's... Oh, that's the issue. It keeps adding. It doesn't just happen once. It continues to add and subtract to if it is a positive number. If it's going down, then we keep adding it to keep making it go down faster. That is why. Okay. I want to only do it once. So once... It's not that if it's greater than or equal to, I want it at the very bottom an if-then statement. That when does the level, if I go to score, if I go over here, where is score happening? It should be in the brick section. Where is it happening? Where is it happening? What the heck? Oh, the level at the very bottom left-hand corner? Yeah, bottom right here. That's to be printed right after this bottom banner or something, whatever it's called. Bottom rectangle. So the level needs to be conditional. Yeah, So the only time that we're going to increase it is if the score equals a certain amount. Now if we go back to level, if it is a certain point, once it equals 100, you set it. Instead of if it's greater than or equal to 10, how about if the score equals 0? If once the score equals 0, set it. No. Okay, I know what I meant by that. If score equals 0, I want to set level to 1. Okay? Now, I want level to continue happening. Is to set it at 0, set level 1 at score 0, and then set it again once it's at 10. That's what I want to happen. So here's what I want to happen. Set level to 1 when score equals 0. Set level to 2 when score equals 10. How do I do that code? Because if I just do if score equals 0, well, score will not be 1. Will it? I don't know. Let's try it. Let's see what happens. When it equals 0, then set level to 1. So I'm going to press save and I'm going to press play. That should set the bottom left-hand corner to 1. Okay, so let's do this with everything else. Is that once it is equal to 10, once score is 10, so I'm going to copy and paste this and put it all over this. And once it is equal to 10, then I want you to execute the next code, level level equals 2. And velocity and all that great stuff. Okay. So let's test that right now. Let's get it to 10. 10 points. I'm looking for 10 points. Oh my gosh, we got to level 2 and it immediately zapped itself. Oh, but that was the issue. As long as I didn't change this. That was my fault. I didn't change. So the score was correct. The way that I wanted to do the score is correct. But I didn't change the issue again. The issue is that velocity, as long as it's a positive number, continues shooting it that direction. So we're always just increasing a number. I don't want that to happen. If it's greater, yeah. What I want you to do with velocity is to increase it. Yeah. If it is equal to 0. Cool. How about this? If velocity is greater than 0, then I want you to do everything here. Then I want you to do all these score functions. So I'm going to delete this, cut it out, and bring it to the very bottom. Or I don't have to delete that. I'll just save the bottom one. There's a lot of edit here that I have to do, so it'd probably be quicker just to do this. Yeah. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 100. And then we'll delete this last one. This will equal 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we can just delete this last one. So, is that if velocity dot y is greater than 0, meaning is it a positive number, is ball falling, then do all this. Copy paste, is the ball rising, climbing, rather than falling? Climbing with a B for some reason. Less than or equal. Okay, so if it's a negative number, save, run. What? Okay, so I'm missing something. Probably a brackets somewhere. Oh, this needs to be commented out because there's an extra brackets here that doesn't matter. And commenting this out. That dog's barking. Dog's been barking for quite a while. Just didn't really notice it. Okay. Once we get to 10, let's see what happens. 9, 10. Okay. I don't know if the ball increased. Yeah. Uh-oh. No. The ball, I think, decreased. Yeah. What if I just set it to a certain value? Yeah. Because it equals level plus... Yeah. Instead of just trying to continuously add. Okay, like right there. Now Y is pretty slow. Not doing anything. It should be a lot quicker than it is. Oh, duh! The reason for that is like it's not adding at all. It's because I didn't change the velocity.y to any of that. If velocity.y equals this, then if all this, yeah, change, add level to, yeah. At the very bottom here, we're now going to add add level to velocity. We're going to set, not add, set velocity, because if we keep adding, it'll be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 10, etc. So set velocity.y to level plus 4, 4 being the initial value. So we're going to set velocity.y equals level plus 4, because if it's climbing, we want to actually do a subtracting if it's less than. So minus equals level, minus a level plus, and then minus 4. That should work. I don't know. And then this is we're going to also set if the ball is climbing, it was negative. Again, opposite of what our intuitive nature is, which is why processing is a bit dumb. That's the one thing that I would say it's retarded in. Why do it that way? So now I'm going to add everything together instead of subtracting. Plus, and this should be plus. So set, save, and then running. So now once we get to 10, we should set the value of velocity to a larger number, which it already seems like it is. Yeah. Oh, it already is because we set level to 1. 1 plus 4. It's already set at 5. So that was, yeah. Once we get, see, now we got to 20. Now it's going to go faster. Gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster, 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 faster. Whatever the Sonic the Hedgehog thing is. But okay, now we have something that's functional. Now we got to 50. Now we're level 6. Now we're cooking. Yeah. Now I could do this where it's regardless of whatever the level is, doing it in a continuous manner. I kind of want to set it to an infinite value. I want to set it where, oh my gosh, it's its level plus 4, and then sets whatever the score is divided by 10, round that number, that is the level. So, just for simplicity's sakes or something. And, yeah. Something like that. So what I want to do is set the initial ball to 0 then. So at the very beginning, at the level in the setup function, I want to set level to 1, and I want to set the starting point 3. And I also want to note velocity.y will increase/decrease per level. Default level is 1, so -3 will become -4. So just to note that for myself for next time if I so choose. So all the scores set, everything begin. Boop, boop, boop. So we're at 4 again. Our initial one was at 4. So we're at 15, it should increase. Should have increased. That's kind of harder. Now there's one thing that I could do that I'd like to, if I have time. Yeah, it's 2 hours and 12 minutes. There's one thing that I'd like to do. Oh, and you can even see that my paddle, when I have a power up, it doesn't. I can still push the rectangle to the right, to either the left or the right. Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to change that one little thing. Oh, but I don't know. Let me find a negative, harmful value. Paddle shrink. That's what I want to have. Paddle shrink, and goes away. Oh, I needed to get that last one too. That was my fault. No, I wanted to get another paddle shrink, so just game over. Let me get a paddle shrink and see how far over to the left and right it is. Because it should only be printing the default size position. To the left and to the right. See, look at that. There's a space in between in between the wall and the thing. What I want to do is change where it's only the rectangle. So, gotta go fast. Gotta go fast. Gotta go faster. Faster. So what I want to do is change the paddle W, I'm assuming, when it comes to the paddle. Yeah. If paddle is less than or equal to paddle X is less than, I need to probably do paddle W, less than half of whatever it is. Yeah. What? If paddle X, the center point, is less than 50, is less than or equal to 50, paddle X equals 50. So what is even paddle X stating? If it's, what? 5450? Oh, if it goes too far to the left? Gotcha. If it's less than whatever the paddle Y is, paddle W, not paddle Y, paddle W, then if it's less than half of whatever it is, divided by 2, then I want you to set paddle X to it. So this should get rid of that one issue I just had. Paddle W 500 minus paddle W. 500 being canvas width. I want you to set it to this value. Save. Float number. Paddle W is a float number? Or is what? Paddle X is a float number? It is a float. Paddle W is a float number. No, it needs to be an integer. I don't think that should change. I don't think there's any conflict if I change it to an integer. I don't think there should be. Play. Now what I'm looking for is a decrease. And now I'm testing. Look at that. It's doing it. It's stopping. It's blocking on the left and the right hand side. Now what I'm trying to do is I want to get another increase to test it when it's at its largest. Yep, it stops. It stops before it goes beyond that point. Now, I'm done. Fantastic. Woo! The level points, the leveling system, and there's an increase of velocity once we get to level 10. So it's very simple. And because we're at 216, I'm not, again, the break that I'm going to take is I'm going to cheer and celebrate what I just did. Probably in a weird way. But one thing that I would like to do before I'm going to do a bonus round. Bonus round. Automated paddle. Automate paddle to follow ball after release. So after the release happens, I want the paddle to follow wherever the ball is and switch the two. Maybe I need to switch the two. Maybe have paddle dependent on ball follows mouse until release. Something like that. Just an idea to get myself going. Doesn't Popeye the Sailor says myself? Why, you little? Oh my gosh, man. This is really good. Oh. Again, I'm going to do that power up. I'm going to do that because I want to also be able to switch it back. I want to be able to do something specific where I can also do it manually, switch it back. Maybe it's on mouse click when released. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know how to actually do it right now, but just take the time to loosen up the body. Oh, man. Gotta pop that spine back in place. Now, there is something that I need to improve. I've only drinking a portion of this water for the last 2 hours. Talking does dehydrate you. It does remove water from your body. Because you're pushing out just even and you're even drying out your throat because of the amount of air that's going in and out. The speed and such, and how much. The quantity and quality, I guess, of air. Quality air. There's quality air coming out of me, ladies. So ball follows mouse until the release. Now I also want to be able to switch back to manual mode. Maybe a manual change in the code, but note it as to how to switch back and forth. I think that would be really good. So right now I want to automate the paddle where it follows the ball as long as, excuse me. Oh, no. One of the reasons for that, no. Okay, initially I thought it was going to be a good idea. I would have to make it on the left or right hand side of it. Yeah. It has to be hit instead of if I can't make it where it follows the ball directly, because once it hits right in the center, I don't want it to go up and down, which it shouldn't. But eventually it will get to that point once it lowers the number. I don't want that. So that's going to be a longer project than I think I want to do. So what I will do is I'll go through the comment section and make certain that the comments are available throughout the code. Purposes for readability, last thing to check. And then I did say 10 to 15 minutes. It might take longer. It might be less. So I want to go from start to bottom is, I'm going to write balls, location, and velocity. Now, I'm going to put the initialize paddle X. I can remove that. Initialize the switch that determines whether the ball sticks or not. We don't use sticky ball. We're not using it at all, so I can just remove it, which again, really good. Paddle.hit is the plus minus number of where the ball hits on the paddle, okay? Initialize life point variable, that plus minus total health, okay? Initialize a score variable, start at 0, okay? Only make true at the beginning, reset game to default settings. So at this point, I'm not really, okay, sticky ball, don't care. It's not a thing that matters anymore. So location.y, velocity equals new vector. What? Oh, gotcha. So reset the timer, reset to 0, 0 on canvas, yes. Reset level. I want to remove unnecessary code. Sticky ball is true. I don't need that, which, because I'm deleting something like that, I need to test it again of whether or not it's true. Because again, I'm not using sticky ball. Yes, I am! Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Uh-oh. Okay, I need to switch this. Okay. Oh my gosh. It's not of whether it's sticky ball, it's initialize the switch that determines whether, switch that determines the ball sticks to the ball, the ball sticks to the paddle at the beginning of the game. My goodness. So, whether the ball sticks to the paddle at the beginning of the game. Oh my gosh, I started deleting a lot of stuff. Okay, so I don't think there's much else to delete. I don't need to do that. I do want to have a menu section, but I don't really want to do anything with that. Call the game function, reset the game. Once the game over phrase is on the screen, then you can press any key to restart the game. This requires the game over to have a variable. Okay, so I'm going to go to ball. I'm just going to clean out a lot of stuff. I understand that this location.y equals height. I'm keeping that. I don't know why it was there. What? Oh, if I wanted to do it at the bottom. I don't know. I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. There's no reason. Yeah, simplify it. Left side, go left. Left side, go left for bounce off paddle. Okay. I don't think, what? What's happening here? Go left side. If it's on the left side, go left. So once it hits the floor, once it hits the ground, once it hits the paddle, if it's on the left, this is what we're checking on the left-hand side. Okay. Oh, but that's something that I need to even change because I pressing play, kind of just clearing up the code here. Once I get either an increase or a decrease, the ball should getting a decrease. The ball should continue to bounce regardless of whether or not yeah, whether or not it actually hits it. So what I need to do is go to the power up section, paddle section, and I need to grab paddle.w. I thought I was going to grab something else, but for right now, I need to make paddle x minus paddle y minus the minus paddle w divided by 2 minus 15. Minus 15. Same thing for over here. Plus 15. Now it hits the left-hand side. Cool. If it's left, go left. But if it's else, there should be an else function so it goes to the right side. If it's on the left, go left. And the location of... I don't get that. Oh, gotcha. Paddle hit equals wherever the location is minus paddle x. Paddle x is location. Location.x. What? I don't get why it's that way. If paddle x is that number, it equals 50%. Oh. Let's try it again. Well, Gidoki. Okay. So if paddle hit equals location.x, paddle x, and then divide that by 10. So I don't get why that's happening. So calculate the percentage. Oh, divided by 10. Paddle hit. Gotcha. Okay, if the velocity.x is greater than 10, we're resetting it. So else, we're going to add whatever the paddle hit is. That makes sense now. Okay, no. We're now making sense here. I just had to change the paddle W. Okay. Same thing with 65. Is that if bounce off brick 1 plus 60, well, that is the width of each brick. So I could make that into a variable as well. I'm not going to. It's good. It's good. Simplicity, whatever. We'll go with that. Print brick. Save clock. Yeah. Timer. Game over. Countdown. Yeah. Life points. Paddle. I'm not really engaged, so I'm just going to do it very briefly. Not doing it 100%. And it's not engaging at all. So, score. We'll tally up points for each brick hit. Score. Print the score at the top right corner. So, boom, top right corner, text size filled, text. What's being printed is the variable score. So, actually, brick. Gotcha. Okay, so we're going to press play, we're going to run it again, and I'm going to be kind of happy where it is right now. But for the next 30 minutes or so, what I would like to do is plan and prep what's going to be happening next time, even while I'm playing. I made this game within 1 week, probably a little bit more, probably a little bit less. I need to probably go back and check it out. But I'm wanting to do where it's Monday through Friday. Again, it's not a perfect game, but it's a functional game. Is that what I want to do for my next objective is to create clocks, and I want to see how far I can make those clocks. How deep, how invested can I make those clocks look? How pristine? If there's any issues in between those clocks? How do I make a timer like I did with the clock right up here? Because I made that clock at the very middle top-hand screen. I made that by hand. I made that add 1 for every 50 cycles. What I want you to do is add one, and then each of those digits is dependent on the prior. So I made my own clock. That clock is fast because it's dependent on the cycles. Um, hey man, it's a level 10. So what I want to do is do something with that. Now, I guess the new thing that I need to think about is I don't want to program for the sake of programming. My entire objective with programming, this entire channel is to help me program. But what I want to do with programming specifically is to create an automated trader. And I think I think having a challenge every single week is very important. I think that's incredibly important. I don't know if I'm even at the part to start trying to figure out things. But if I can just figure out how processing works and then start creating projects once per week, and then eventually move on to, even if I create my own automated trader, I may not make that public. I'd like to think that I'd like to not make that public because it is my own personal, it's my own personal project. What? Why is it not hitting 100? Level 9. Uh-oh. I mean, this is the farthest I've been, but I did not realize that. I went through a test run, so let's go to level. Once the score equals 90, okay. If it's greater than 0, make it 0. I don't know. So, if it's greater than 0, if it's greater than... Okay, this might add some calculations, but I think this will eliminate that issue of if it goes from 89 to 91 not making it 0, well then the score won't be, because I probably wasn't paying attention to the level that closely because I was focused on the ball. Okay. So now it should be 1, and then once it gets to 10, it'll be level 2. Once it gets to 20, it'll be level 3. So again, going with the clock, doing a project every single week live, or recording what I'm doing live, I think is an important process. I may even make it where I can create my automated trading program on the side, or maybe for patrons or something. I think that'd be kind of cool if that's what y'all would want, or if that's what my audience would want. I'm thinking aloud. Not it's what would people want to see with programming? I am going to be spending time programming. I would love to capitalize on that. I do spend time talking about politics and culture, a little bit of it. Not the sense of just left or right or your politics are wrong. I don't care about the politics per se. I just care about your behavior and how you live within society. That's what I care about. So, again, me and a socialist probably have a lot more in common than one might think. Not say socialist, but socially liberal person. I have probably a lot more with involved a lot more with a socially liberal person than I do with a conservative politically, and then I'm probably more politically conservative than a liberal who is just liberal in entirety. But just because I have a certain opinion about it, I want to approach it as in, I don't care about the policy. If we apply the same standard elsewhere, how will that affect? Uh-oh. 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 I make it go left. I make it go right. Okay. I thought something was stuck. For a second. Yeah. Again, it's just politics and culture or something. No, that's interesting to me, and that's something that I'm again going to be doing. I want to try to find a way to maximize or capitalize on that, but at the same time, I don't want to change, not who I am, doing things that I find to be despicable, like judging. I judge people all the time, but what I'm learning is to not judge the person. I'm learning to judge the idea that they hold. That I can still love you as a person, as a human being, but I may disagree with what's going on inside of your head. And again, I think that racism is horrible. So anybody who judges another person based off their race is a racist act. But just because you judge another person like, oh, you're black, so therefore this, but I'm still going to try to treat you correctly. I'm going to still try to treat you the same as another person, even though I may have a bias that way. I'm okay with that. Like, okay, you have a bias towards something. You're trying to figure it out. A racist, in my opinion, allows that to judge somebody based off their skin and say that is the way you are. Well, dude, that's racist. It's like you may be that way, and I may be trying to fight it. And if you're trying to fight that one urge, dude, all power to you. It's really like you can have as much bias in one location or another. Are you trying to make yourself better? Even if it's 0.00001% every day. If you just say hello to somebody that's you've never met, and just say hello. Be as sincere as possible, and they'll say hello back. And just keep walking on. Just one little thing every single day. Try to improve yourself. That's something that I really care about when it comes to culture and politics. I don't necessarily care about the politics. I care about the culture. And mainly, two things that I said earlier at the very beginning. Two things that I care about with politics that I care about within movies. Transparency and continuity, and I said it in the reverse order. So continuity and transparency, but transparency and continuity, those two matter to me. That I don't necessarily care about your politics. I don't. I care about, are you aware of what's going on with yourself? Are you aware of how you're speaking? Are you aware of what you say? Are you aware of the actions you take? Are you aware of any contradictions that are happening? I love people, but then I go around spitting on them when I disagree with them. Like those two are not congruent. They're disintegrated. They're not of integrity. So that's what I care about only. I don't care about the policy per se. I care about the attitudes that one person has and the actions that they take. Because I may disagree with you politically. I'm going to have to give you the benefit of the doubt that you actually know so much more when it comes to the policy. I don't care about that. It's one of those things that I've said multiple times, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's a word I'm trying to look for a while ago. I primarily care about you as an individual and how you live within society and how you live as an individual. I care about you. It's not your race. It's not your sex. It's not your age. It's you. Because a 40-year-old can do something that a 20-year-old can do. They can. It's not going to be the same, but they can. You might have to alter, modify, change, diet, sleep, exercise, think in a different way than you have been used to for the past 20 years compared the last 40 years compared to the 20-year-olds who has to change their thought process for the last 20. But all it takes is one moment to change. All it takes is one moment to change, and boom, you change the rest of your life. You really do. The projection of life of where you're going 10 to 20 years from now, successful people who start now, 10 to 20 years from now, the people who are deaf, dumb, and stupid, broke, and out of, and I'm not going to say work. I'm going to say out of employment. Like there's no work that they are doing. This is work for me. 3 to 4 hours every single day working on this. This is my objective. This is my goal. This is when I wake up, this is what I get and grind on to doing. So if you don't employ your activities, if you don't train, if you don't use it, you lose it. So you need to condition yourself. So if somebody starts right now in a new skill, in 10 to 20 years, they're going to be at the top echelon compared to most other people in the entire world. And then the people who are not at that level will look at them and say, wow, look how lucky and fortunate they are. Yes, because of the consistent actions taken. It's not just taking a bunch of actions one day. That changes your life, yes. But what also manipulates the destiny at which you arrive at are the simple, small, seemingly insignificant actions that are taken over time that produce those results in your life. So if you want to change your life, boom, change how you're thinking. If you want to, again, for me, I may need to, if I want to increase the volume of subscribers that I have, I may need to even start uploading my videos on different platforms. Maybe YouTube having its ad apocalypse, second or third one. Maybe I need to start thinking YouTube is not being a viable source. I can still use it as default, but I need to start moving somewhere else. That would be a trigger. If the boat is sinking, I need to make certain that I am leveraged in other positions and other areas that I don't lose my entire collection. So, just as a thought process for myself. So, right now, again, I'm at the end. I could end. There's no real reason for me to continue talking for the sake of talking. I could talk for the sake of talking. I'd love to have a live feed where I'm constantly talking with my audience. I'd love to do that. Every once in a while, check in. It's like, oh, you said this? Okay. And then probably even giving me some feedback or something of what I'm either doing right or wrong. It's like, no, stop doing that. You need to do this. No, you should. Oh, no, you're right, actually. So again, Saturday, I have to prep some things, and then Sunday I'm going to be traveling and helping family out in other cities for half a week or something. So I may not upload anything until Wednesday, but I would very much like to do something at the very beginning of the day. I don't know if that'll work for me. Maybe I should bring my PC. No, because that would mean I'd have to take up everything. And there's a lot of things set up a certain way, so I would not be able to take it. So I don't think that I would be able to do next week until Wednesday or something. So my objective is to get the things done as quickly as possible so I can come back here. That would probably be the goal and objective to do. I could even do it where I'm recording myself or recording a screen, like a tablet or something, and code there for an hour or two. But it would also be an important task to just take a break and then come back whenever it's possible. So next week, what my goal is, because it's going to be a short week, my objective is to create, because I have all these different types of clocks, I'm going to minimize it to clocks. Because next week will be shortened, I will only focus on creating a digital clock over a binary clock. That's the one thing that I'm going to work on. I have a lot of ideas that I want to do, but those are the constraints that I have because I have other things I need to do next week. So my next goal is going to be clocks and I'm going to be starting this on Monday, Saturday and Sunday. I could even start it on Friday and Saturday and do a video before I leave on Sunday, so to maximize how much time I'm actually doing this. So I'm going to do, next week is going to be the 10th. So the 10th. So again, I completed it. Yay! Now I'm done. So now the next goal is create clocks. And I need to pay my tickets after this video. So because next week will be shortened, I will only focus on creating a digital clock over a binary clock. So by 2019, June 10th, create clocks. Because next week will be shortened, I will only focus on creating a digital clock over a binary clock. So yeah, that's it. I have every single piece of detail. It's probably not the order in which I want it, but I have a date, I have a goal, I have a specifically defined goal. I have a date for its completion. Start by, it's going to be done the 14th. So I'm only going to have a few days to do that. Few days to complete. So again, having one goal, one objective done every single week, something like, and even adding on to it as much as possible, just diving into one project, whatever it is, for 1 week and doing as much as possible with that 1 week. And then I do an emotional reset during the weekend, doing other things, and come back on Monday, fresh, starting again. That's what I would like to do consistently. Now, I'd love to also get a laptop where I can do this and do it on the road because I'm, again, needing to travel a few places. Again, family. And while I'm there, I can go through the thought process and think aloud or something. And That's something that I want to do. So only, and then bringing a microphone and probably a built-in webcam or something like that. I think that would be a really good idea. Maybe I can even just do that. Have a laptop that's dedicated to that. Maybe I can, I probably need to save some money for maybe either this next week or the week after. I do have to get some food, which, eat or get a new laptop. I don't know. So we are 15 minutes before we're done. We did go a little bit further, up to 4+ hours yesterday, so this is kind of, I guess, making up for it. Yeah, we'll end off right here. So thank you very much for being a part of this. Please post your comments, questions, and concerns right down below. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That would greatly help me out. And most importantly, while you enjoy the rest of your day, I will see you next time. Probably half a week, Wednesday. I don't know. See you next time.